Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. I'm so glad you found your way here, because tonight we'll be drifting through the quiet wonders of the world we call home. Wherever you are in the world, let this be your moment to slow down. Let the noise soften, the edges blur, and your thoughts settle like leaves on still water. Tonight, we're staying grounded on Earth. Life on this planet is more mysterious, resilient, and extraordinary than most of us ever imagine. From glowing oceans to immortal jellyfish, from ancient underground forests to microscopic creatures that can live in space, Earth is alive in ways that will surprise you, soothe you, and stir something deep within you. Some of what you hear may change how you see the world. Other discoveries might simply float by like petals on a breeze, gentle, curious, and quietly unforgettable. If this kind of peaceful wonder brings you calm or sparks your curiosity, consider liking and subscribing. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, let yourself get comfortable. Take a deep breath, and let's begin this slow and soothing journey through the miracles of life on Earth. There's a jellyfish that can live forever. Near the warm coastal waters of the Mediterranean and in oceans around the world, drifts a creature that defies one of nature's most universal laws. The Torotopsis dohnii, often called the immortal jellyfish, has a remarkable ability. When injured, aged, or threatened, it can revert its body to an earlier stage of life. Like a butterfly turning back into a caterpillar, it returns to its polyp form, the jellyfish equivalent of childhood, and begins again. This process isn't just theoretical. It's been observed repeatedly in labs. The jellyfish can cycle through its life stages over and over, potentially forever, unless it's eaten or destroyed. While it doesn't hold the key to eternal life for humans, it reminds us that nature's imagination far exceeds our own. Here, floating quietly in the sea, is a creature that rewinds time, not once, but again and again. Trees whisper to each other through a hidden network. In the stillness of a forest, there's a secret conversation taking place beneath your feet. Trees, long thought to be solitary giants, are connected by underground networks of fungal threads known as mycorrhizae. Through these delicate filaments, trees exchange nutrients, send chemical signals, and even share warnings about pests or drought. Older trees, sometimes called mother trees, support their offspring by funneling sugars and resources through this hidden web. It's not a metaphor. It's a biological network so vast and complex, some scientists have begun calling it the woodwide web. A birch tree might support a neighboring fir. A dying tree may pass its last energy to the forest. It's a quiet form of intelligence, not conscious, but deeply cooperative. In this silent world of roots and fungi, the forest is not a collection of individuals, but a single, breathing, sharing community. Tardigrades can survive in outer space. They're tiny, strange, and nearly indestructible, and they're called tardigrades, though many know them by their nickname, water bears. These microscopic creatures are less than a millimeter long and look like wrinkled, eight-legged gummy bears under a microscope. But don't let their size fool you. Tardigrades can survive conditions that would destroy almost any other form of life. Freezing temperatures close to absolute zero, boiling heat, crushing pressure, radiation, and even the vacuum of space. In 2007, scientists launched them into orbit, and they came back alive. How did they do it? By entering a state called cryptobiosis. In this mode, they dry themselves out almost completely and suspend their metabolism. They don't die, they just wait. Sometimes for years, and when water returns, they reawaken. Tardigrades remind us that life is tougher, stranger, and more adaptable than we ever imagined, even when drifting through the stars. Oxygen was once a deadly poison. Today, we breathe it with every moment. But long ago, oxygen was Earth's most dangerous pollutant. Over 2 billion years ago, early microbial life thrived in an oxygen-free atmosphere. These ancient organisms, known as anaerobes, were the planet's first inhabitants. But then came cyanobacteria, tiny photosynthetic microbes that began releasing oxygen as a byproduct. At first, it wasn't much. But over millions of years, oxygen accumulated in the oceans and air, triggering what's now known as the Great Oxidation Event. For countless anaerobic species, oxygen was toxic. It corroded cells, disrupted ancient metabolisms, and caused a mass extinction. But for others, this invisible gas became a new source of energy. Eventually, it powered the rise of complex, multicellular life, including us. So in a way, the breath that keeps you alive is also the legacy of a mass extinction. Oxygen is not just life-giving. It's history written in every inhale. Some plants eat animals. We often picture plants as passive, green, and gentle, reaching quietly for the sun. But not all plants wait politely for nutrients. Some go hunting. Carnivorous plants like the Venus flytrap, pitcher plant, and sundew lure insects with sweet scents or sticky nectar. And then, snap, or trap. A Venus flytrap counts the footsteps of its prey, only closing when it senses multiple touches. Pitcher plants form deep, slippery wells filled with digestive enzymes where insects slide in and can't escape. Others, like sundews, glisten with tiny tentacles that curl around their prey like slow, sticky arms. Why do they do it? Because they live in poor soil, places where nitrogen is hard to find. So they adapt, not with teeth or claws, but with patience and clever design. These quiet predators remind us that survival takes many forms, and even the gentlest green leaf might hide a hidden appetite. Every leaf is a masterpiece of design with a unique pattern, just like fingerprints. Hold a leaf up to the light, and you'll see a quiet miracle. Each one is a finely tuned machine, soft to the touch, yet crafted with microscopic precision. At its heart lies a delicate network of veins, like rivers branching across a landscape. These carry water, minerals, and sugars to every corner of the leaf, fueling the process of photosynthesis. The surface is dotted with tiny pores called stomata, valves that open and close to let carbon dioxide in and oxygen out. The green pigment, chlorophyll, captures sunlight and converts it into energy, not just for the plant, but for nearly every living thing on Earth. Some leaves can track the sun across the sky. Others repel water, trap insects, or store heat. No two are exactly the same. In form and function, each leaf is a masterpiece, fragile, beautiful, and alive with purpose. Some oceans glow in the dark. Imagine walking along a quiet beach at night and seeing the waves glow with an eerie blue-green light. This phenomenon is real, and it's caused by tiny living things known as bioluminescent plankton. When disturbed by movement, like a crashing wave or the swirl of a swimmer's hand, they release a flash of cold light. It's not reflected moonlight, but a chemical reaction inside their bodies, the same kind of glow used by fireflies in the sky. In places like Mosquito Bay in Puerto Rico or the Maldives, this glow can light up entire shorelines, turning the sea into a shimmering dreamscape. No electricity, no magic, just biology. Bioluminescence has evolved many times in Earth's oceans, used for everything from camouflage to communication. And here, in the darkened tide, the sea offers a quiet, glowing reminder that even in the darkest waters, life finds a way to shine. Your body is more microbe than human. You might feel like a single person, one body, one mind. But in reality, you are an entire living community. Your body contains more microbial cells than human ones. Trillions of bacteria, viruses, fungi, and archaea live on your skin, in your mouth, and deep within your gut. This collection is called your microbiome, and it's not just along for the ride. It helps digest your food, train your immune system, produce vitamins, and even influence your mood and behavior. In many ways, the microbiome is an extension of your body's own intelligence, a vast, invisible partner in nearly everything you do. Some microbes protect you. Others compete with invaders. And just as no two fingerprints are alike, your microbiome is uniquely yours. So the next time you feel alone, remember, you're never truly by yourself. You're a walking ecosystem, a world within a world. Ants can build bridges out of their own bodies. In the forests of South America, army ants are constantly on the move, flowing across the jungle floor like a living river. But when they reach a gap or obstacle, they don't stop. Instead, they build bridges out of themselves. One ant anchors to a branch. Another climbs onto its back. Then another and another, until a living structure forms, flexible and strong. Thousands of ants may link together, adjusting in real time to the weight and traffic above them. When the colony is done crossing, the bridge disassembles and the ants rejoin the march. These living bridges are not commanded by a leader. Instead, they emerge from local decisions, each ant responding to its neighbors, guided by instinct and contact. It's a stunning example of collective intelligence, a shape-shifting structure made entirely of life. One body among many, all working as one. Octopuses can rewrite their own DNA. In the silent depths of the ocean, the octopus drifts like a dream, shape-shifting, color-shifting, and watching with eerie alien eyes. It's already one of the most intelligent creatures on Earth. But what lies beneath is even stranger. Octopuses can edit their own RNA, the molecular scripts that translate DNA into proteins. While most animals stick to the genetic code they were born with, octopuses can make real-time adjustments to how their genes are expressed. This means they can fine-tune their biology on the fly, altering how their neurons work, how they sense their environment, or how they respond to temperature and stress. It's not the same as changing their DNA, but it gives them remarkable flexibility. We don't fully understand why or how they do this, but it adds one more mystery to a creature that already seems to come from another world. Some animals seem to recognize themselves. Most animals can see their reflection, but very few seem to recognize it. Self-recognition is rare in nature. It's often seen as a sign of higher awareness, a sense of self. In the mirror test, an animal is marked with a spot they can't see without a reflection. If they try to examine or touch the mark while looking in the mirror, it suggests they know the image is themselves. So far, only a handful of species have passed. Great apes, dolphins, elephants, magpies, and possibly manta rays. Even some fish show signs of mirror awareness. This doesn't mean they have human-style consciousness, but it hints at something remarkable, that awareness may not be ours alone. The spark of self might flicker in minds very different from ours. And across the tree of life, the boundary between I and other might not be as clear as we once believed. Life has survived 5 mass extinctions. Life on Earth is ancient and astonishingly resilient. Over the past 500 million years, Our planet has experienced at least 5 mass extinction events. Each one wiped out the majority of species living at the time. The most devastating, known as the Permian extinction, erased over 90% of marine life and 70% of land species. Volcanoes, asteroids, climate shifts, each time the world changed. And each time, life came back. Not the same life, but something new. From the ashes of extinction, ecosystems reshaped themselves. Tiny survivors became the ancestors of new lineages. It's a quiet testament to the persistence of biology. Life doesn't just endure, it adapts, evolves, and reinvents itself. We are part of that story, born from ancient survivors who endured darkness and silence and found a way forward. A thread unbroken, even through catastrophe. Mushrooms can control the behavior of insects. In the shaded dampness of a forest, a strange drama unfolds, one that blurs the line between plant and puppet master. Certain fungi, like Ophiocordyceps, infect insects such as ants, infiltrating their bodies and brains. Once inside, the fungus begins to grow, releasing chemicals that alter the insect's behavior. The ant, now under fungal control, climbs high into the vegetation and clamps onto a leaf or branch. Then it stops. The fungus kills its host and sprouts a stalk from the body, releasing spores to infect others below. It's a gruesome, precise cycle, honed over millions of years. Scientists still don't fully understand how the fungus manipulates the nervous system so effectively. But in this quiet war of biology, even the smallest organisms wield astonishing power. The forest is more than green and peaceful. It's full of unseen strategies, some elegant and some terrifying. The color blue is rare in nature. Look around you, the sky, the ocean, the shimmer of butterfly wings. Blue is everywhere. And yet, in the natural world, blue is one of the rarest pigments. Most blue creatures, like blue jays, morpho butterflies, or peacocks, don't actually contain blue pigment at all. Instead, their color comes from structure. Microscopic patterns on their surfaces bend and scatter light in a way that reflects blue wavelengths. It's called structural coloration, and it's an optical illusion made by shape, not dye. True blue pigments are hard for living organisms to make, and few have managed it. That makes every natural blue a kind of trick, an interaction between light and the tiniest architecture. So, the next time you see a flash of blue in the wild, remember, you're not just seeing color. You're seeing light dancing on the edge of biology and physics. Elephants grieve their dead. Among the grasses and dust of the savannah, elephants do something few other animals are known to do. They mourn. When an elephant comes across the bones of a deceased relative or friend, it slows down. It touches the remains with its trunk. It lingers. Some have been observed returning to the same spot years later, gently examining the bones again. Elephants have even been seen standing guard over the dying, staying nearby, refusing to leave. Their grief may not be exactly like ours, but it's something deeply felt. They form strong family bonds, remember old companions, and seem to carry emotional weight. It's a quiet truth that humbles us, that empathy, loss, and love may not belong only to humans. In the hearts of these great, gentle giants, something very old and tender stirs, a recognition of life's impermanence. Coral reefs are built by tiny animal architects. Coral reefs are among the most vibrant ecosystems on Earth, but they're not built by plants or rocks. They're built by animals. Each coral is a colony of tiny creatures called polyps. They feed by extending stinging tentacles to catch plankton, and they build their homes by secreting calcium carbonate, creating the stony skeletons that form reefs. Over time, these skeletons accumulate, forming massive underwater structures that can stretch for hundreds of miles. And within these reefs, life flourishes. Fish, crustaceans, mollusks, sea turtles, and countless others. Despite covering less than 1% of the ocean floor, coral reefs support nearly a quarter of all marine life. They are living cities, built not by design, but by the slow labor of millions of unseen architects. Delicate, colorful, and deeply vulnerable, reefs are a reminder of how much life can rise from the smallest hands. Slime molds can solve mazes without a brain. They look like something from a science fiction movie, and in many ways, they behave like it too. Slime molds are single-celled organisms that live in soil, decaying wood, and other damp environments. They have no brain, no nervous system, and yet they can solve mazes. In laboratory experiments, scientists place a slime mold in the maze with food at 2 exits. The slime spreads out in all directions, then pulls back, leaving behind the most efficient path between the 2 points. It doesn't think. It doesn't plan. But somehow, it figures it out. Slime molds use chemical gradients and feedback to explore their environment, a kind of distributed intelligence written into their bodies. They've even been used to model transportation networks, showing surprising parallels to human systems. It's a strange, mesmerizing reminder that intelligence comes in many forms. Not all of them need a brain. The Amazon makes its own rain. The Amazon rainforest doesn't just absorb rain, it creates it. Each day, as sunlight warms the canopy, billions of trees release moisture into the air through a process called transpiration. This vapor rises, cools, and condenses into clouds, which then fall again as rain, feeding the forest below. It's a cycle so vast and efficient that the Amazon generates much of its own weather. This self-sustaining loop helps regulate the climate of an entire continent and even influences weather patterns across the Atlantic. The forest is not just a collection of trees, but a vast breathing system. And when parts of it are lost, through deforestation or fire, the cycle weakens. Rain lessens, droughts spread. The Amazon is often called the lungs of the earth, but it's also the beating heart of South America's skies, pulsing moisture, breath, and life into the air itself. Some frogs freeze solid and still survive. In the icy stillness of winter, some frogs undergo one of the most astonishing transformations in the animal kingdom. They freeze. Not just slow down, but literally turn solid. The wood frog of North America can survive being frozen for days or even weeks. Its heart stops. Its blood turns to ice. Organs shut down, and its body stiffens completely. But thanks to natural antifreeze compounds in its tissues, the frog's cells remain intact. When spring returns and temperatures rise, the ice melts, and the frog wakes up, hopping away as if nothing happened. It's not a metaphor, it's cryogenic survival, affected by evolution. Scientists study these frogs in hopes of learning how to preserve human tissues or understand extreme biological resilience. For now, they remain quiet miracles of adaptation, tiny amphibians that defy winter's grip and return, heartbeat by heartbeat, to the living world. Whales can sing across entire oceans. Beneath the surface of the sea, songs drift through the dark. Long, slow, and haunting, the calls of blue whales can travel for thousands of miles underwater. These low-frequency vocalizations are among the loudest and deepest sounds made by any animal, and in the quiet depths, they can echo from coast to coast. Whales use these songs to find mates, navigate and communicate across vast distances. Each population has its own dialect, and their songs can evolve over time, passed down like oral traditions. Some species, like the humpback, create long, intricate melodies that shift year by year, with different whales contributing new phrases. We don't fully understand everything they're saying, but we know it matters. These are not random sounds, they are messages shared across a watery world, among creatures who have roamed Earth's oceans for longer than any human memory. Seeds can lie dormant for thousands of years. Seeds are tiny time travelers. They may seem like simple, lifeless things, but inside, they carry the blueprint for life, and sometimes an incredible patience. Some seeds can remain dormant for decades, even centuries, waiting for the perfect moment to sprout. In one remarkable case, a date palm seed found in a 2,000-year-old archaeological site was successfully germinated in modern times. It had slept through empires, seasons, and silence, then, with water and warmth, awoke and grew. Other seeds survive freezing, fire, or burial under meters of earth. They're equipped with protective coats, complex chemistry, and finely tuned sensitivity to their environment. When the moment is right, not before, they begin again. In every seed is a quiet promise that life can wait, endure, and return. A single grain of stillness holding the future in its shell. Bioluminescence has evolved over 40 times. The glow of fireflies, the twinkle of plankton in the surf, the flicker of a deep-sea anglerfish's lure. These lights aren't borrowed, they're made by life itself. Bioluminescence, the ability to produce light through chemical reactions, has evolved independently at least 40 times across the tree of life. From bacteria to fungi, from squid to jellyfish, organisms have developed their own ways to glow. Some use light to attract prey, others to warn predators. Some use it to find mates or to vanish in plain sight. In the deep ocean, where sunlight never reaches, bioluminescence is everywhere, a flickering, drifting constellation of living stars. The chemistry is elegant. An enzyme called luciferase interacts with a light-producing molecule called luciferin, releasing energy as visible light. Simple, silent, and stunning. A shared language of glow that life has written again and again, in caves, in waves, and in the furthest corners of darkness. Your bones are made of stardust. It's not poetry. It's physics. The calcium in your bones, the very structure that holds you upright, was forged in the heart of ancient stars. In the final moments of a massive star's life, elements heavier than helium are created through nuclear fusion. When the star explodes in a supernova, those elements are scattered across space. Over time, they drift into clouds of dust and gas, mixing and settling, until gravity pulls them together once more. Planets form, oceans rise, and eventually, on one small blue world, life begins. The calcium, iron, carbon, and oxygen in your body all come from those ancient stars. You don't just live in the universe, you are the universe, arranged in a pattern that can think, breathe, and wonder. You are, quite literally, made of stardust, walking on a world shaped by light and time. Some insects can see in ultraviolet. When you look at a flower, you see color, maybe yellow, red, or blue. But to many insects, especially bees, flowers look completely different. That's because they can see ultraviolet light, a part of the spectrum invisible to the human eye. To them, the plain-looking petal might blaze with glowing patterns, landing guides, and radiant rings, all designed to lead them to the nectar within. These patterns aren't just beautiful. They're functional, Evolved through mutual benefit. The flower gets pollinated. The bee gets fed. Other insects use UV vision to navigate, find mates, or spot predators. Even the humble cabbage butterfly sees the world in shades we can't imagine. So, while we share the same planet, we don't share the same visual world. There's a hidden spectrum all around us, filled with light, signs, and colors we'll never quite see. Kangaroos can pause their pregnancies. Deep in the heart of the Australian outback, kangaroos carry a remarkable secret: the ability to pause time inside their own bodies. When conditions are harsh, or when a joey is already in the pouch, a mother kangaroo can delay the development of a fertilized egg. This phenomenon, called embryonic diapause, lets her body wait for the right moment to continue the pregnancy. She might be nurturing one joey outside the womb, one in the pouch, and have a third on pause, all at once. When food becomes available or the pouch is vacated, the embryo resumes development. It's a brilliant strategy for survival in an unpredictable climate. This natural pause button means kangaroos can time their reproduction with incredible precision. In a land of extremes, nature has given them flexibility, acquired mastery over time, written into their biology. Some fish can change their sex. In the colorful chaos of coral reefs, some fish carry an astonishing secret. They can change from male to female, or the other way around. Clownfish, for example, live in small social groups with a strict hierarchy. The largest fish is female, and only she breeds with the dominant male. If she dies, the male changes sex, becoming the new matriarch. In other species, like wrasses, females can become males, often when the dominant male disappears. This transition isn't just behavioral. It's biological. Hormones shift, organs restructure, roles reverse. It's a natural adaptation that helps maintain reproduction in dynamic environments. In the ocean, identity is not always fixed. It can shift with need, with opportunity, or with the currents of chance. And in these quiet transformations, we see just how fluid life can be, flexible, responsive, and endlessly surprising. Birds navigate using Earth's magnetic field. Every year, birds travel thousands of miles across mountains, oceans, and even continents, returning to the same nesting sites with pinpoint precision. How do they do it? One secret lies deep within their biology: the ability to sense Earth's magnetic field. Some birds have tiny crystals of magnetite in their beaks or heads, acting like internal compasses. Others may use specialized proteins in their eyes, allowing them to see magnetic fields as patterns or visual cues. This magnetic sense, called magnetoception, works alongside the sun, stars, and landscape to guide their way. It's a subtle and elegant system, an ancient map etched into the nervous system. We don't yet understand every detail, but we know it works. Birds fly home not just by memory or instinct, but by feeling the invisible forces that surround the Earth itself. The Earth breathes through the carbon cycle. The Earth is alive in more ways than we often realize, and one of its deepest rhythms is the carbon cycle. Carbon moves through air, water, plants, animals, and rocks in a slow, interconnected flow. When you breathe out, you release carbon dioxide. Plants take it in during photosynthesis, building leaves, stems, and roots. Animals eat those plants. Decomposers break down what's left. Volcanoes emit it. Oceans absorb it. Some of this carbon becomes fossil fuels, some becomes stone, and some lingers in the air. This global exchange helps regulate climate, support life, and shape ecosystems. It's a cycle that moves not just through years, but through eons. And right now, it's out of balance, tilted by human activity. Understanding this cycle helps us see Earth not as static, but as breathing. In and out, light and dark, growth and decay. A living system, quietly spinning in space. Bacteria were the first builders of Earth's surface. Before plants, before animals, even before the oxygen we breathe, there were bacteria, and some of them built structures that still stand today. Stromatolites are ancient rock-like formations found in shallow waters around the world. They're made by cyanobacteria, microbes that trap and bind sediments over time, layer by layer. Fossilized stromatolites date back over 3.5 billion years. They're among the oldest evidence of life on Earth. These microbial communities helped shape the planet's surface and atmosphere, releasing oxygen as a byproduct of photosynthesis. Eventually, that oxygen changed everything, paving the way for complex life. Today, living stromatolites can still be found in places like Shark Bay, Australia. Quiet, strange, and ancient, they stand as monuments to the earliest engineers, builders without tools, architects without eyes. Just patient, microscopic life, laying the groundwork for all that followed. Dolphins have names for each other. In the ocean's shimmering blue, dolphins communicate with an intricate language of clicks and whistles. But there's something even more remarkable. They seem to have names. Each dolphin develops a unique signature whistle early in life, a kind of acoustic ID. Other dolphins learn and remember this whistle, using it to call out to specific individuals. It's not mimicry, it's recognition. When researchers played back a dolphin's own signature whistle, the animal responded, just like a person might turn when hearing their name. This behavior suggests a level of social memory and identity previously thought to be uniquely human. Dolphins live in complex, ever-changing groups. Being able to identify and track individuals helps maintain bonds, manage relationships, and navigate their fluid social world. In the deep, dolphins speak, and in their calls, we glimpse something astonishing, the roots of language, echoing beneath the waves. The Sahara was once a lush green paradise. Today, the Sahara stretches like a golden sea, vast, hot, and dry. But not so long ago, it was something else entirely. Roughly 6,000 to 8,000 years ago, much of the Sahara was green. Rain fell regularly. Rivers flowed. Lakes shimmered in the sun. Wildlife roamed the grasslands. Elephants, crocodiles, giraffes, and humans lived there, leaving behind cave paintings of abundant life. This period, known as the African humid period, was driven by subtle shifts in Earth's orbit, which altered the strength of seasonal monsoons. Eventually, the rains faded, and the desert returned. But deep beneath the sands lie ancient lake beds, fossilized trees, and buried evidence of a world transformed. The Sahara is not just a desert, it's a memory. A reminder that even the harshest landscapes were once soft, green, and alive, and might be again one day. Bees can understand the concept of zero. They're tiny, they buzz, and they pollinate our world. But bees can also do something astonishing. They seem to understand zero. In experiments, bees were trained to associate fewer shapes with a sweet reward. When presented with a blank card, no shapes at all, they correctly chose it over cards with one or more. This suggests that bees grasp the abstract idea that none is less than some. Only a few animals, like chimpanzees, dolphins, and parrots, have demonstrated this kind of numerical reasoning. That bees, with their tiny brains, can do the same is remarkable. It hints at a form of intelligence not limited by brain size, but shaped by need and evolution. Inside a hive, thousands of minds work as one, but even the individual bee holds surprises. Small body, big mind, a quiet buzz, and a brilliant brain. Wolves changed the shape of rivers. When wolves were reintroduced to Yellowstone National Park in the 1990s, something incredible happened. They didn't just affect deer populations, they reshaped the entire landscape. With fewer grazing animals, vegetation along riverbanks recovered. Trees and shrubs grew taller. Birds returned. Beavers built dams. The healthier plant life stabilized the soil, reducing erosion and changing how water flowed. In some places, rivers became more narrow and meandering, more stable. This phenomenon, known as a trophic cascade, shows how a single species can affect an entire ecosystem. Wolves, by simply doing what wolves do, created a ripple effect that transformed forests, waterways, and animal populations. It's a powerful reminder that nature is interconnected in ways we often don't see. Every creature plays a role, sometimes subtle, sometimes profound. And in the howl of a returning wolf, the land begins to heal. Flowers can hear the buzz of bees. We often think of flowers as passive, colorful, fragrant, and still. But some flowers are listening. Research has shown that certain plants can respond to the sound of a bee's buzz. When a pollinator approaches, the vibration of its wings triggers the flower to produce sweeter nectar within just minutes. The flower doesn't have ears, of course, but its petals vibrate in response to sound, acting like sensory organs that detect specific frequencies. This helps ensure the plant offers a better reward, exactly when a pollinator is nearby. It's a quiet dialogue. The bee calls, the flower answers. This subtle acoustic awareness adds another layer to how we understand plant behavior. Even without nerves or brains, plants can sense, respond, and adapt in real time. The garden is not silent. It's full of delicate humming conversations. Lichens are two organisms living as one. On stones, tree bark, and mountain cliffs, you'll find lichens, simple, crusty patches of color clinging to the surface. But these quiet organisms hold a surprising truth. They are not one life form, but two, or sometimes more. A lichen is a partnership between a fungus and an alga, or cyanobacterium. The fungus provides structure and protection. The photosynthetic partner makes food from sunlight. Together, they survive in places too harsh for either alone, from Arctic tundra to dry deserts. It's not always a gentle partnership. Sometimes the fungus dominates, shaping the alga into submission. But the result is resilience, a blended life form that can thrive where few others can. Lichens are ancient, stable, and essential to many ecosystems. They break down rock into soil, provide food, and create shelter. Two species, one life. A quiet collaboration written into the surface of the world. Water bears may outlive every other species. They're microscopic, squishy, and surprisingly cute. But tardigrades, also known as water bears, are among the toughest organisms on Earth. You've met them before in this list's surviving space, but their resilience goes even deeper. Tardigrades can endure freezing, boiling, intense radiation, crushing pressure, and total dehydration. They've been found on mountaintops, at the bottom of oceans, and deep within solid ice. When conditions get harsh, they curl into a dormant state called a ton, essentially hitting pause on life itself. In this state, they can survive for decades, maybe even centuries. Some scientists believe that tardigrades could even survive mass extinction events that wipe out larger life forms, from asteroid impacts to global radiation. They are not invincible, but they are astonishingly prepared. In the quiet corners of the world, the water bear waits, tiny, eternal, and ready to begin again. Naked mole rats don't age like other mammals. They're strange, wrinkled, and live underground. But naked mole rats are one of the most biologically fascinating mammals alive. Unlike most creatures, they seem to defy the usual patterns of aging. They don't show a typical increase in mortality risk as they get older. They resist cancer, tolerate low oxygen environments, and live up to 30 years, an incredibly long time for a rodent. Their cells remain stable. Their proteins resist damage. In fact, a 5-year-old mole rat looks very much like a 25-year-old one, internally at least. They live in complex underground colonies with a single breeding queen, much like insects. Scientists study them for clues about longevity, cancer resistance, and resilience under stress. In the dim tunnels beneath the earth, these creatures lead quiet, hidden lives, soft-skinned and small, but carrying secrets that may one day help us all. The human body contains trillions of cells. You are made of stardust and stories, and also about 30 trillion cells. Every breath, every thought, every heartbeat is the work of countless microscopic parts, each with its own role. Muscle cells contract. Neurons fire. Red blood cells deliver oxygen. Skin cells renew. Gut cells digest. Immune cells defend. Together, these diverse cells form a single unified body, one being, made of many. But your body is also full of movement. Cells are constantly dying and being replaced. You rebuild yourself, piece by piece, every day. You're not static, you're a living symphony of cellular cooperation. And still, somehow, it all works in balance. Even now, as you rest, millions of cells are working quietly to keep you whole. You are not one thing. You are a community, a miracle of coordination, humming softly beneath your skin. Some parrots can outsmart a toddler. They're colorful, talkative, and often playful. But parrots are also among the most intelligent animals on the planet. Studies have shown that some species, like the African grey parrot, can count, understand concepts like same and different, and even grasp the idea of zero. One famous parrot named Alex learned to identify colors, shapes, and quantities. He could ask for what he wanted, express frustration, and answer complex questions. In many tasks, he performed on par with, or better than, a human toddler. Parrots use their intelligence in the wild too, solving problems, navigating social groups, and even using tools. Their brains are structured differently from ours, but evolution has found a parallel path. When a parrot speaks, it isn't just mimicking, it may also be thinking. Bright feathers, brighter minds, and a little bird that just might be smarter than you think. The ocean holds more life than all land combined. We walk the land. We live beneath the sky, but most of Earth's life is hidden beneath the waves. The ocean covers more than 70% of the planet's surface and contains the vast majority of all living biomass. From the tiniest plankton to the largest whales, from glowing jellies to forests of kelp, marine life thrives in forms almost too numerous to count. Coral reefs, open water, deep trenches, each supports a unique community. Even a single drop of seawater can contain thousands of microscopic organisms. We've only explored a fraction of the deep ocean. Much of it remains untouched, mysterious, and brimming with unknown life. The sea is not empty. It's teeming, a vast, living world beneath the surface, pulsing with currents and song, the greatest wilderness on Earth. is blue. Earth's oldest living creature is a quaking tree. In a quiet grove in Utah stands what may be the oldest known living organism on Earth. It doesn't look ancient, just a cluster of ordinary trees with trembling leaves. But beneath the surface, they're all connected. This is Pando, a clonal colony of quaking aspens. Each trunk you see is genetically identical, part of the single root system that may be over 80,000 years old. Pando doesn't reproduce with seeds. Instead, it sends up new stems from its roots, generation after generation, forming a living forest made of one tree. Though individual trunks die and regrow, the organism as a whole endures. It has survived ice ages, storms, and time itself. A forest that is also a single being, ancient, quiet, and still very much alive, rooted in place, and reaching, always, toward the sky. Some viruses can be beneficial. When we think of viruses, we usually think of illness. But not all viruses are harmful. Some play essential roles in shaping life, evolution, and even our health. Certain viruses attack harmful bacteria in the human gut, helping to maintain microbial balance. Others influence gene expression, insert useful DNA into our genomes, or help cells adapt to stress. In fact, a portion of the human genome, nearly 8%, comes from ancient viral DNA, passed down over millions of years. Some of these viral genes are now vital to our biology, involved in everything from brain development to reproduction. Viruses are not just invaders. They're part of life's history and part of its future. Tiny threads woven into the fabric of who we are, not only as threats, but sometimes as allies. Sharks have been on Earth longer than trees. Sharks are often seen as modern predators, sleek, fast, and dangerous. But their lineage is older than it appears. Sharks have existed for over 400 million years. Trees, by comparison, only appeared around 350 million years ago. That means sharks were swimming in Earth's oceans before a single leaf shaded the land. They've survived 5 mass extinctions, including the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. Their basic body plan has changed very little over time, a testament to how effective and well-adapted they are. Modern sharks come in hundreds of forms, from gentle whale sharks to hammerheads and deep-sea lantern sharks. But all carry the legacy of deep time, a lineage almost unimaginably old. Each glide through the water is a movement shaped by eons, silent, steady, and enduring. Rainforests make their own clouds. Rainforests aren't just shaped by the weather, they help create it. Every day, trees draw water from the soil and release it through their leaves in a process called transpiration. This moisture rises into the air and condenses into clouds. In places like the Amazon, this constant cycling of water helps sustain rainfall, not just locally, but across entire regions. When the forest is healthy, it supports its own climate. But when trees are lost, the effect is profound. Less moisture means fewer clouds, and eventually, less rain. A tipping point can be reached where the forest can no longer sustain itself. Rainforests are not just passive landscapes. They're engines of the atmosphere, breathing out mist, cloud, and life. When you stand beneath the canopy, you're standing in the lungs of a continent. Some crabs decorate themselves with living sponges. In the coastal shallows, one small creature practices a quiet kind of camouflage with a twist. Decorator crabs don't just blend into their environment, they become part of it. They carefully pick up bits of algae, seaweed, and sponges, and attach them to their shells using hooked hairs. Some even place live sponges on their backs, which continue to grow as the crab moves. This serves multiple purposes: hiding from predators, mimicking the surroundings, and sometimes even gaining chemical protection. The sponge may release toxins or unpleasant tastes, making the crab less appetizing. It's a collaboration, not quite symbiosis, but close. A moving reef, a creature that wears its home like a costume, constantly adjusting to remain unseen. In the quiet waters, disguise becomes art. Insects outnumber humans by billions to one. The world belongs to insects. For every human on Earth, there are an estimated 200 million insects. They live in every ecosystem, from rainforest canopies to frozen tundra, from desert sands to ocean shores. Beetles alone make up nearly a quarter of all known animal species. Insects pollinate crops, recycle nutrients, break down waste, and feed countless other creatures. They've been here for over 400 million years and have survived every extinction event. Some live for minutes, others for years. They build cities, wage wars, and even farm. Their societies can be complex, their adaptations endless. Though small, they are mighty, shaping the world in ways most of us never see. We may rule the land in our own minds, but the insects were here first, and they will likely be here long after we're gone. Birds of paradise perform elaborate dances to mate. Deep in the rainforests of New Guinea and nearby islands, birds of paradise display an almost unbelievable beauty. Feathers shimmer in metallic blues, fiery oranges, and velvet blacks. Some sprout plumes like streamers, others unfold fans or bounce on long tail wires. But it's not just about looks. These birds perform elaborate dances, each species with its own choreography. They hop, spin, bow, and pose in precise sequences, accompanied by clicks, whistles, and flutters. Females watch from above, choosing mates based on performance. This intense selection has driven the evolution of some of the most extravagant traits in the animal kingdom. Behind every dance is a quiet story of patience, of showmanship, and of life's wild creativity. In these courtship rituals, we glimpse evolution's flair for the dramatic and nature's love of spectacle. Spiders use silk that's stronger than steel. In the quiet corners of attics, trees, and garden gates, spiders spin something extraordinary. Their silk, drawn from their bodies in long, delicate strands, is among the strongest materials in nature. Weight for weight, spider silk is stronger than steel and far more flexible. It can stretch without breaking, absorb enormous energy, and form complex structures like webs, nets, and egg sacs. Each thread is made from proteins arranged in microscopic patterns, assembled with perfect precision. Different spiders produce different kinds of silk, each with its own purpose: sticky, smooth, tough, or soft. Some can even spin silk underwater or while gliding through the air. Scientists study spider silk for use in medical sutures, bulletproof materials, and lightweight engineering. But for now, the spider spins quietly, crafting miracles from within, one silky thread at a time. Fireflies use light to talk to each other. On warm summer nights, the dark comes alive with tiny flashes of light. Fireflies, also known as lightning bugs, communicate with bioluminescent signals, blinking patterns that vary by species, region, and even gender. Males fly through the air flashing specific rhythms. Females respond with timed replies from the grass or trees. It's a courtship dialogue written in light. Some species blink slowly, others rapidly. A few emit a soft, steady glow. Inside their abdomens, fireflies mix chemicals like luciferin and oxygen to create this cold, glowing light. a process that produces no heat. It's one of nature's quietest, most enchanting conversations. But fireflies also use their light to warn predators. Some species taste bitter or are mildly toxic. Their glow is both beauty and signal, a living language of flashes that dances through the dark. Some monkeys use medicinal plants to heal. In the forests of Africa and South America, some monkeys do more than eat plants. They use them as medicine. Researchers have observed chimpanzees and other primates deliberately seeking out bitter, non-nutritive plants when sick or injured. They chew the pith of specific stems, swallow rough leaves whole, or rub certain substances onto their skin. Many of these plants contain antibacterial, antifungal, or antiparasitic compounds. One example: chimpanzees with intestinal parasites will often eat bitter leaves that help purge the worms. They don't consume these plants casually, only when symptoms appear. This behavior is known as zoopharmacognosy, animal self-medication. It challenges the idea that only humans use healing remedies. The knowledge may be instinctive, passed down, or both, but it reveals a hidden intelligence. Among the branches and leaves, a quiet pharmacy waits, and some animals already know how to use it. Algae produce most of the oxygen you breathe. Every breath you take is a gift, not just from trees, but from the ocean. Tiny organisms called phytoplankton, drifting near the surface of the sea, perform photosynthesis just like plants. They absorb sunlight, take in carbon dioxide, and release oxygen. Despite their microscopic size, these algae produce more than half of Earth's breathable oxygen. They form the invisible foundation of marine food chains, supporting everything from krill to whales. But their role in the atmosphere is just as vital. Without them, the balance of gases in the air would change, and so would the climate. Phytoplankton respond to temperature, currents, and nutrients, and are deeply sensitive to changes in the ocean. They're not visible from shore, but they're everywhere, a shimmering cloud beneath the waves. With each exhale, remember, the ocean is breathing with you. Crows can plan for the future. In the quiet corners of forests and cities, crows go about their day with purpose and remarkable foresight. These birds, members of the corvid family, have been observed saving tools for future use, hiding food in secure places, and even bartering for rewards. In experiments, crows have chosen a less tasty treat in the moment if it meant getting something better later. They've used sticks to fish out food, bent wires into hooks, and shown an understanding of cause and effect. Some even remember the faces of people who've wronged them and hold grudges for years. Their intelligence rivals that of great apes, despite their much smaller brains. And unlike many animals, crows seem to think ahead, not just act on impulse. They are planners, problem solvers, quiet minds in feathered coats, watching, learning, and remembering. Snakes can see heat with their faces. For some snakes, sight doesn't end with light. They can also see heat. Pit vipers, pythons, and boas possess special organs called pit receptors, small openings on their faces that detect infrared radiation. This allows them to sense the body heat of warm-blooded prey, even in total darkness. The image they perceive isn't like human vision. It's more like a thermal map, a glowing silhouette of warm shapes against a cooler background. This ability gives snakes a powerful edge during nocturnal hunts, helping them strike with astonishing accuracy. It's not magic, but physics, tuned into biology. Some scientists compare it to having a sixth sense. The world seen through heat, not light. A reminder that every species moves through its own version of reality, shaped by the tools evolution has given them, and shaped by what they need to survive. the Arctic tundra blooms all at once. For most of the year, the Arctic tundra sleeps beneath ice, wind, and silence. But when summer arrives, brief, bright, and urgent, everything changes. In a matter of days, frozen soil softens. The sun stays in the sky nearly all day, and the ground erupts with flowers, mosses, and grasses in a sudden, breathtaking bloom. It's not a gradual awakening, it's an explosion of color, scent, and life. Pollinators buzz, birds return to nest, mammals forage and raise their young. All of it must happen in a short window, sometimes just 8 weeks before winter returns. It's a burst of energy that echoes across the food web. The tundra, though harsh and still, knows how to seize the moment. And in this ancient rhythm of stillness and bloom, life keeps time with the sun. There's a fungus that turns ants into zombies. Deep in tropical forests, a quiet and eerie transformation unfolds. A parasitic fungus, Ophiocordyceps unilateralis, infects ants and takes control of their behavior. Once inside, the fungus spreads through the ant's body, eventually reaching its brain. The ant, still alive, is compelled to leave its colony, climb a plant stem, and clamp onto a leaf or twig. There, it dies, and the fungus continues to grow. A stalk bursts from the back of the ant's head, releasing spores into the air to infect others. It's not science fiction, it's a real biological strategy perfected over millions of years. Though horrifying, it's also a striking example of how deeply evolution can shape behavior. The forest holds beauty, yes, but also a darker elegance. And sometimes, the smallest organisms wield the most chilling power. Sea cucumbers can liquefy their bodies. At first glance, a sea cucumber might not look like much, just a soft, sausage-shaped creature lying on the ocean floor. But it holds a remarkable ability. It can turn itself into liquid. When threatened or navigating tight spaces, a sea cucumber can alter the stiffness of its body by rearranging the proteins in its connective tissue. In seconds, it goes from firm and solid to nearly jelly-like, flowing into cracks and crevices for safety. Then, just as quickly, it can firm up again. Some species can even expel parts of their internal organs as a defense mechanism, and then regenerate them later. It's a survival strategy like no other, shape-shifting without bones, muscles, or conscious effort. Soft, silent, and strangely magical. In the slow rhythm of the sea cucumber glides, dissolving and reforming like water in the shape of life. Icefish have antifreeze in their blood. In the icy waters of the Antarctic, most creatures would freeze solid, but the icefish doesn't. Its secret? Antifreeze. Icefish have evolved special proteins in their blood that prevent ice crystals from forming. These antifreeze proteins bind to tiny ice particles and stop them from growing, a biochemical shield against the cold. Icefish also have other unusual adaptations. They lack red blood cells and hemoglobin, giving their blood a pale, almost translucent color. Instead, oxygen dissolves directly into their blood plasma and is transported throughout their bodies. They move slowly, carefully, through frigid waters, surviving in temperatures that would kill most other vertebrates. Their strange biology is a window into how life adapts in extreme conditions. In the stillness beneath Antarctic ice, the icefish drifts, soft-blooded, cold-hearted, and utterly unique. Termites build mounds with natural air conditioning. From the outside, a termite mound may look like just a pile of dirt, but inside, it's a marvel of natural engineering, a city built by insects. Some mounds stretch over 30 feet tall and house millions of termites in a complex layered network of chambers and tunnels. What's most remarkable, though, is the ventilation. Termites design their mounds to regulate temperature and airflow using convection currents. Warm air rises and escapes through vents, while cooler air is drawn in from below. This passive air conditioning maintains a stable internal environment, even when outside temperatures swing wildly. No blueprints. No architects. Just instinct, iteration, and cooperation. It's a natural form of climate control, achieved without tools or technology. In the soil beneath our feet, insects have built structures that rival our own, quiet, efficient, and beautifully adapted. Some lizards can squirt blood from their eyes. It sounds like a legend, but it's real. The horned lizard, found in parts of North America, has a bizarre and dramatic defense mechanism. It can shoot blood from its eyes. When threatened by predators, especially canines, the lizard increases the pressure in small blood vessels near its eyes until they rupture. A thin stream of blood, mixed with foul-tasting chemicals, sprays out, sometimes up to several feet. This sudden, startling burst often confuses or repels attackers, giving the lizard a chance to escape. It's not harmful to the lizard, and the vessels heal quickly. While it may seem extreme, it's just one of many strange adaptations animals have evolved for survival. In a world where danger is everywhere, even a drop of blood can become a shield. Small, armored, and surprising, the horned lizard reminds us that nature never runs out of ideas. Life first emerged in the deep ocean. Long before forests, before fish, before bones or eyes, life began in darkness. Deep in Earth's ancient oceans, hydrothermal vents spewed mineral-rich water into the surrounding sea. Around these vents, conditions were extreme: scalding heat, crushing pressure, and total absence of sunlight. And yet, somehow, life found a foothold. The first organisms were simple, single-celled, without nuclei, feeding on chemicals rather than light. This process, known as chemosynthesis, may have been the very first form of metabolism. These deep-sea environments are still home to strange, resilient life: tube worms, clams, and heat-loving microbes that thrive in the dark. Some scientists believe similar vents might exist on other ocean worlds, like Europa or Enceladus. If so, life might begin in the same way, far from starlight, born in the warm breath of stone. The ocean's deepest places may also be its oldest cradles. Starfish can regrow their arms. Beneath the tide, a starfish glides slowly across the seafloor, calm, silent, and wonderfully strange. If one of its arms is lost to a predator, it doesn't panic. It regrows it. Starfish are masters of regeneration. Some species can rebuild not just a single arm, but an entire body from a single severed limb, as long as part of the central disc remains. This ability is made possible by a unique network of stem cells and decentralized nerves. The starfish doesn't have a brain, just a nerve ring and a system of tubes that help it move and feel. It grows slowly, patiently, rewriting its own body. Scientists study starfish to better understand wound healing and regeneration in other species, even in humans. In the stillness of the reef, the starfish teaches a quiet lesson: that healing is possible, and life can renew itself, one piece at a time. Platypuses lay eggs but feed milk. Among Earth's strangest creatures, the platypus stands proudly unique. It has the bill of a duck, the tail of a beaver, and the webbed feet of an otter. It lays eggs like a reptile, but feeds its young with milk, like a mammal. This curious creature is one of only 5 monotremes, mammals that lay eggs instead of giving live birth. Platypuses don't have nipples. Instead, milk seeps through pores in their skin, and the babies lap it from the mother's fur. Males have venomous spurs on their hind legs. They hunt underwater with their eyes closed, using electroreception in their bills to detect the faint electrical signals of prey. Everything about the platypus seems like a contradiction or a joke by nature. But it's real. A living relic from an ancient lineage, still paddling through Australia's streams. Soft, secretive, and wonderfully odd. Bats use echoes to see in the dark. When night falls and the world goes quiet, bats take to the skies, finding their way not with sight, but with sound. Through echolocation, bats emit high-frequency calls that bounce off objects in their environment. By listening to the echoes, they can determine the size, shape, distance, and even texture of what's around them. Some can catch a mosquito in midair using only this acoustic map. Their calls are so precise, they can fly through dense forests, between branches, or even through slits no wider than their wingspan. Not all bats use echolocation, but those that do are among nature's most efficient flyers and hunters. They don't see darkness as we do. They hear space. And in that invisible world of echoes and flutters, the night becomes alive with form, rhythm, and motion. Venus flytraps count before they snap. In the damp, sunny swamps of the Carolinas, a quiet predator waits. The Venus flytrap doesn't move often, but when it does, it moves with purpose. Its leaves are shaped like open jaws, lined with delicate trigger hairs. When an insect touches one hair, nothing happens. Touch two hairs, or the same one twice within about 20 seconds, and snap. The trap closes in a fraction of a second. Why the delay? Because counting helps avoid false alarms, like falling raindrops or debris. Only the movements of a real, active prey will trigger the trap. Once closed, the flytrap seals tight and digests the insect over several days. Then, it opens again, ready for the next visitor. It's not thinking, but it's sensing, timing, responding, a plant that measures motion and acts. Penguins propose with pebbles. On the rocky shores of Antarctica, love takes a quiet and unusual form. When it's time to mate, many species of penguins, especially Adélie and Gentoo, begin a delicate courtship with a simple gift, a pebble. The male searches carefully for a smooth, round stone and presents it to the female with a small bow or offering gesture. If she accepts, she places it in her nest, and the two begin building a home together, stone by stone. These nests protect eggs from melting snow and keep them elevated above the cold ground. The best pebbles are in high demand, and sometimes penguins will sneak stones from their neighbors' nests. But often, the offering is sincere. A gift, a gesture, a beginning. In the frozen quiet of the South, love speaks not in song or scent, but with the clink of stone against stone. Some birds can sleep while flying. High above the waves, where there's no place to rest, some birds have mastered a remarkable skill, sleeping on the wing. Species like the frigate bird and the alpine swift can stay aloft for days or even weeks, gliding across vast distances without ever landing. To survive such journeys, they sleep with only half their brain at a time, a phenomenon called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. One side of the brain rests, while the other stays alert enough to guide flight and avoid danger. Their eyes even take turns staying open. It's not deep sleep, but it's enough. While soaring over the sea, they drift in and out of awareness, cradled by the wind. Nature has found a way for rest and motion to coexist, a gentle balance of vigilance and surrender. And in the quiet sky, some dreams are carried on wings. The human brain runs on tiny electrical sparks. Beneath your thoughts, beneath your dreams, your brain glows with quiet fire. Every idea, every memory, every motion begins as an electrical signal, a spark leaping between neurons in the darkness. Your brain contains roughly 86 billion of these cells, each forming thousands of connections, creating an intricate web of communication. These tiny impulses travel down axons, jump across synapses, and cascade into patterns that become feelings, words, and decisions. It's not electricity like in a wire. It's biological, flowing through ion channels, fueled by chemical gradients. The result is a storm of light and thought, always changing, always alive. Even in deep sleep, your brain hums with low rhythms, waves of electricity pulsing beneath your skull. You are not powered by wires or gears, but by sparks. Tiny flickers that give rise to awareness. Cuttlefish can disappear in plain sight. Cuttlefish are masters of vanishing. These soft-bodied cephalopods can change the color, texture, and pattern of their skin in the blink of an eye, blending perfectly with sand, rocks, or coral. They achieve this using specialized cells called chromatophores, iridophores, and leucophores, which expand or contract to create shifting colors and optical effects. Even more incredibly, cuttlefish are colorblind. They can't see color the way we do, and yet they match their surroundings with uncanny accuracy. Some scientists believe they use brightness, contrast, and polarization to guide their camouflage. Cuttlefish can mimic not only color, but also texture, raising bumps or flattening their skin to match the surface they rest on. It's not just for hiding, it's for communication, hunting, and play. One creature, infinite disguises. A living canvas that paints itself anew with every breath. The moon controls the breeding of coral. On certain nights of the year, under the light of a full moon, coral reefs begin to glow, not with light, but with life. All at once, corals across entire reefs release their eggs and sperm into the ocean in a synchronized spawning event. This happens with breathtaking precision, often just once a year, and timed to the lunar cycle. The moon's gravity, light, and rhythm cue the corals to act together, increasing the chances of fertilization in the vast sea. For a brief window, the water is filled with drifting life, a snowstorm of new beginnings. Coral spawning is one of the most spectacular reproductive events in nature. Though these animals are stationary, they still dance to the rhythm of celestial bodies. In the quiet reef, the moon calls, and life answers. Frogs use their eyes to swallow. Frogs may not chew, but they do something even stranger to get their food down. They blink. When a frog captures prey with its sticky tongue and pulls it into its mouth, it doesn't just rely on throat muscles to swallow. It pulls its eyes downward, literally sinking them into its skull. This motion presses against the top of the mouth, helping to push the food toward the throat. You can sometimes see it happen, a slow blink, a gentle squeeze, and down goes the meal. It's a perfect example of how evolution repurposes what's available. No extra tools, just a clever solution using what's already there. In frogs, even sight becomes part of digestion. A blink that's more than a blink, a strange, silent push from behind the eyes. Plants can send warnings through the air. When a plant is attacked by a hungry caterpillar, for example, it doesn't suffer in silence. It sends a warning. Some plants release volatile chemicals into the air, signaling nearby plants that danger is near. These neighbors may then boost their defenses, producing bitter compounds, toxins, or even toughening their leaves. It's a kind of chemical conversation, subtle and invisible to us, but powerful in the world of plants. The messages can even be specific. A tomato plant may send different signals depending on whether it's being chewed by an insect or infected by a fungus. Some scientists believe this airborne messaging evolved to give related plants, like offspring, a better chance of survival. So the next time you walk through a garden or forest, remember, it's not silent. It's humming with information, leaf to leaf, root to root. Some trees can clone themselves for millennia. In a grove somewhere in the high mountains of Utah or Scandinavia, a tree grows and grows and grows, but not in the way we usually imagine. Some tree species, like quaking aspens, can reproduce by cloning themselves. A single tree sends out roots underground, which sprout new stems at the surface. Each new trunk may appear to be a separate tree, but genetically, it's part of the same organism. One such clonal colony, named Pando, is estimated to be over 80,000 years old. That means it began growing when woolly mammoths still walked the earth. Even if individual trunks die, the root system lives on, pushing up new growth year after year, century after century. It's a forest that is also one being, ancient, quiet, and spread across generations. In this hidden persistence, time takes root, and life endures. Earthworms are natural soil engineers. Beneath your feet, in the dark, damp soil, earthworms are hard at work. They may seem simple, blind, silent, and slow, but they play a crucial role in shaping the world around us. As they tunnel, earthworms aerate the soil, creating space for roots to grow and for water and air to circulate. They eat decaying organic matter, digest it, and return it to the earth as nutrient-rich castings. This process helps build healthy soil, the foundation of forests, farms, and food chains. Their movement also mixes layers of soil, redistributing minerals and organic material. Charles Darwin once said that it may be doubted whether there are many other animals which have played so important a part in the history of the world. Quiet, tireless, and unseen, earthworms are architects of life itself. In every garden, meadow, and forest, they shape the ground beneath our feet. Giraffes sleep less than 2 hours a day. Towering above the savanna, giraffes seem almost too tall to rest, and in a way, they are. These gentle giants sleep for as little as 30 minutes to 2 hours per day, usually in short bursts. Their sleep is often taken standing up, though they occasionally lie down for brief, deep sleep phases, curling their long necks back like a bow. Why so little sleep? Because being tall and slow makes them vulnerable to predators, so they've evolved to stay alert. Even during rest, one member of a group often keeps watch. Despite their minimal sleep, giraffes remain active, curious, and socially complex animals. Scientists still don't fully understand how they thrive on so little rest, but their biology seems finely tuned for survival in open landscapes. Under the stars, while lions and hyenas roam, the giraffe dreams, but only for a moment. Microbes can eat plastic. Plastic, once thought to last forever, may not be as permanent as we believed. In recent years, scientists have discovered microbes that can break down certain types of plastic. Some bacteria and fungi produce enzymes capable of digesting polyethylene terephthalate PET, a common material in bottles and packaging. They don't do it quickly, but they do it efficiently, turning synthetic waste into simpler compounds they can absorb. These microbes have been found in landfills, soil, and even the guts of insects. The discovery offers hope for more sustainable ways to handle plastic pollution. Engineers are now studying how to enhance or replicate these enzymes for large-scale recycling. It's not a solution to all our waste problems, but it's a beginning. Even in the mess we've made, life is adapting, finding new niches, new food sources, and new ways to carry on. Arctic foxes change color with the seasons. In the cold northern reaches of the world, the Arctic fox moves silently across snow and stone. Its fur changes with the seasons, a natural cloak that shifts between invisibility and survival. In winter, the fox's coat turns pure white, blending perfectly with ice and snow. In summer, it molts to a brown or grayish coat, camouflaging with rocks and tundra grasses. This adaptation helps it avoid predators and sneak up on prey, from birds to lemmings. The Arctic fox's fur is also incredibly thick, insulating it against some of the harshest temperatures on Earth, sometimes as low as -50 degrees Celsius. It even grows fur on the soles of its feet. Season by season, it becomes the land it walks upon. A shapeshifter in fur, tuned to the turning of the world. The deep sea is teeming with alien life. Beneath the sunlit surface, far past the reach of light, lies a world that feels more like science fiction than Earth. The deep sea, cold, dark, and pressurized, is home to creatures unlike anything found on land. There are fish with lanterns on their heads, translucent predators, glowing jellyfish, and spindly crabs that walk like machines. Some survive on the chemicals emitted from hydrothermal vents. Others drift in endless twilight, bioluminescent and slow. These creatures face crushing pressure and frigid temperatures, and yet they thrive. Because there is no light, many have evolved strange features, enormous mouths, bizarre shapes, or even invisibility. We've explored only a fraction of the deep ocean, but what we've seen is stunning. An alien planet beneath our own, quiet, vast, and filled with life that waits in the dark. Some birds use tools to hunt. We often associate tool use with primates or humans, but in the wild, some birds are just as clever. Crows, ravens, and especially New Caledonian crows have been observed shaping sticks, leaves, and even hooks to extract insects from crevices. But they aren't alone. Green herons drop small objects onto the surface of the water to lure fish within striking distance. Woodpecker finches in the Galapagos use twigs like tweezers. And Egyptian vultures use rocks to crack open ostrich eggs. These birds don't just find tools, they choose them carefully, modify them, and use them in ways tailored to specific challenges. In some cases, young birds learn by watching their elders, passing down knowledge across generations. It's problem-solving, it's invention, and it's a gentle reminder that intelligence isn't bound to hands, it can soar on wings too. Camels can survive for weeks without water. In the harsh deserts of Africa and the Middle East, camels move steadily across sand and sun, unhurried, unshaken, and rarely thirsty. They can survive for weeks without drinking, and when water becomes available, they can consume over 30 gallons in a matter of minutes. But contrary to popular belief, camels don't store water in their humps. They store fat. This fat provides both energy and, when broken down, some water as a byproduct. Camels also conserve moisture through efficient kidneys, dry feces, and a body temperature that fluctuates to reduce sweating. Their blood cells are uniquely shaped to flow freely even during dehydration. Every part of the camel is adapted for endurance. Long lashes to block sand, thick lips to eat thorny plants, wide feet to walk on dunes. They are not just survivors, they are specialists in scarcity. Baby chicks talk to their mothers before they hatch. Long before a chick breaks free from its shell, it begins to chirp, soft, rhythmic sounds from inside the egg. These calls are more than just noise. They're part of an early conversation. Mother hens respond to these chirps, adjusting their behavior, sometimes turning the eggs, sometimes softly clucking in return. Even unhatched siblings can respond to one another, helping to coordinate hatching times. This gentle exchange helps prepare the chick for life outside the egg, building bonds and synchronizing development. Some researchers believe this prenatal communication improves survival, guiding breathing rhythms and even social behavior. The egg, it turns out, is not silent. It's alive with tiny voices, whispering their arrival. A heartbeat, a breath, and a call, all before the first crack of the shell. Some insects can survive being frozen. Winter is brutal for tiny creatures, but some insects have evolved to meet the cold head-on. Certain species, like the Arctic woolly bear moth or the goldenrod gall fly, can survive being completely frozen. They produce cryoprotectants, special molecules like glycerol that prevent ice crystals from forming inside their cells. These compounds act like natural antifreeze, preserving tissues even when the insect's body drops below freezing. In this frozen state, their metabolism slows to a near halt. They don't move, eat, or grow, but they remain alive. When spring returns and temperatures rise, they thaw out and carry on as if nothing happened. It's not dormancy, it's suspended animation. And it's one of the most astonishing strategies for survival nature has ever devised. In the stillness of frost, life waits, quietly ticking forward, one molecule at a time. Polar bears have black skin beneath their fur. Polar bears may look pure white, symbols of snow, ice, and cold. But beneath their thick fur lies a secret. Their skin is black. That dark surface helps absorb and retain heat from the sun, a valuable advantage in the Arctic's bitter climate. Their fur, though it appears white, is actually translucent. Each hair scatters light, giving the appearance of whiteness while allowing sunlight to reach the skin below. This layered design offers both camouflage and warmth. Polar bears are excellent swimmers and skilled hunters, relying on sea ice to reach seals and other prey. Their paws are large and wide for stability on snow, with small bumps for grip. And underneath it all, their skin draws in every drop of warmth the environment offers. Not just beautiful, but brilliantly engineered for survival in a frozen world. Jellyfish can clone themselves. They float like ghosts, slow, silent, and ethereal. But jellyfish are more than simple drifters. Some species have the ability to clone themselves, especially in their early life stages. If a young jellyfish, called a polyp, is injured or broken apart, it can regenerate into multiple individuals. Even adult jellyfish can sometimes bud off new jellyfish from fragments of their body. It's not exactly reproduction in the traditional sense, it's replication, a kind of biological reset built into their structure. In the case of the immortal jellyfish, Turritopsis dohnii, this ability goes even further, allowing it to revert to its youthful state and start its life cycle again. In the shifting tides, jellyfish drift between life, damage, and renewal. Soft, ancient, and infinitely patient. And in their quiet rhythm, life persists through multiplication, reinvention, and the gentle pulse of the sea. The human body glows, just very faintly. You shine more than you know. Like many living organisms, the human body emits a faint glow, a form of bioluminescence invisible to the naked eye. This light is not like the glow of fireflies or deep-sea creatures. It's caused by tiny biochemical reactions that occur when free radicals interact with lipids and proteins in our cells. The result is the release of photons, small pulses of light. Using ultra-sensitive cameras, scientists have captured this glow, revealing that it fluctuates throughout the day, peaking in the late afternoon. Our faces tend to emit the most, likely due to higher metabolic activity. It's incredibly dim, about 1,000 times weaker than what our eyes can detect. but it's there, shimmering softly in the dark. Your body, even in sleep, is not entirely still. It hums. It breathes. And yes, it glows. Some fish can walk on land. The line between sea and shore is blurrier than it seems. Several species of fish have evolved the ability to leave the water and move across land. The mudskipper, for example, uses its strong pectoral fins to walk on mudflats and even climb trees. It breathes through its skin and mouth lining, keeping itself moist to absorb oxygen. The climbing perch, native to Southeast Asia, can survive out of water for hours, even days, by breathing air directly and crawling short distances on land. Some eels have been known to slither across wet grass at night to find new streams. These amphibious feats aren't just curiosities. They represent evolutionary bridges, hints of the ancient transition that brought vertebrates from sea to land. On the edge of water and earth, life stretches its boundaries, one fin, one breath, one step at a time. Fire ants build floating rafts of their own bodies. When floods sweep through their habitats, fire ants don't panic, they assemble. Clinging to one another with mandibles and legs, thousands of ants form living rafts that float on water. Each ant grips the next, creating a tightly woven waterproof structure that can carry the colony, queen, larvae, and ore to safety. The raft is flexible, yet buoyant. Air trapped between their bodies helps them float. And if the raft is disturbed, it shifts and reforms, adapting to the movement of water. No leader directs this construction. It emerges from simple rules followed by each ant, local decisions giving rise to collective resilience. These living rafts can last for weeks. They're not just survival tactics, they're living machines. In the chaos of floodwaters, a fragile species becomes a single floating organism, calm, cohesive, and unstoppable. A drop of seawater contains thousands of creatures. Dip your fingers into the ocean, and you're touching a vast, invisible world. In just a single drop of seawater, there can be thousands, even millions, of microscopic organisms. Tiny plankton, algae, bacteria, viruses, larvae, and more drift together in a rich, swirling soup. Many are translucent, jewel-like, or shaped like alien sculptures. Some glow in the dark. Others form the base of the marine food web, fueling ecosystems from coral reefs to whales. These microscopic creatures play essential roles in the planet's oxygen production, carbon cycling, and even climate regulation. We rarely see them, but they're always there, moving with the tides, multiplying in the sunlight, or hiding in the depths. A drop of water, a world. The ocean, it turns out, is made of galaxies. Life can thrive in boiling acid pools. In the hostile landscapes of volcanic springs where temperatures soar and acids sizzle, life still exists. These places, like Yellowstone's hot pools or Ethiopia's Danakil Depression, are home to extremophiles, microbes that thrive in conditions deadly to most organisms. Some endure heat above boiling. Others survive in pH levels similar to battery acid. They rely on chemosynthesis rather than photosynthesis, drawing energy from sulfur, iron, or other minerals. Their cells are specially adapted to prevent damage from heat and acid, with proteins and membranes uniquely suited to the task. These microbes may resemble the earliest life on Earth, and perhaps the kind of life we might one day find on other planets. In the most extreme places, life doesn't just survive, it invents. It finds a foothold in fire, and it whispers to us, wherever conditions allow, life will try. Plants can do math to survive the night. As darkness falls and photosynthesis stops, plants must carefully manage their energy reserves, and they do it using arithmetic. During the day, they produce sugars from sunlight, which they store as starch. At night, they break that starch down to keep themselves alive. But here's the trick. They divide the amount of stored energy by the number of hours left until dawn, adjusting their consumption rate accordingly. Too fast, and they run out early. Too slow, and energy goes unused. This ability to perform precise biological division, not with numbers, but with molecular signals, helps plants survive on minimal resources. It's not conscious, but it's astonishingly accurate. Inside every leaf, a quiet calculation unfolds, and each night, without eyes or awareness, a plant makes a plan. Because even in sleep, life thinks. Owls fly without making a sound. When an owl glides through the night, the air remains still. Its flight is nearly silent, a perfected stealth evolved over millions of years. The secret lies in its wings. Owls have a unique feather structure, soft-edged primaries that break up turbulence, and a velvety coating that muffles sound. Even the spacing of their feathers is tuned to reduce noise. This silence allows them to hunt with extreme precision, listening for the faintest rustle of prey in leaves or snow. No whoosh, no flutter, just stillness. Other birds make noise when they fly, but the owl's silence is its greatest weapon. It moves through darkness like a shadow with wings, a ghost in feathers, heard only when it chooses to speak. Some worms can regrow their entire body. Cut some animals in half and they perish. But a few species of flatworms, like planarians, can regrow themselves entirely from even tiny fragments. If you slice one into multiple pieces, each can become a complete, fully functional worm. This incredible regenerative ability comes from a special population of stem cells called neoblasts. These cells can transform into any other type of cell, rebuilding muscles, nerves, organs, and even the brain. Scientists study these creatures to understand how regeneration works and whether it could one day help us heal damage in our own bodies. In the stillness of freshwater pools, the flatworm drifts and divides, and each time it is broken, it returns, whole again. Life refusing to be undone. Pigeons can recognize human faces. They may seem ordinary, fluttering through cities, pecking at crumbs, but pigeons are remarkably deceptive. Studies have shown that they can recognize individual human faces, remembering who has fed them and who hasn't. Even when people change clothes, pigeons can still identify them based on facial features alone. This ability is part of their highly developed visual memory, which also allows them to navigate vast distances and even distinguish between artistic styles or words in laboratory settings. Once trained, some pigeons can sort objects by category or learn sequences, behaviors once thought limited to primates. In the bustle of urban life, they blend into the background. But these birds are watching, remembering, learning. The city is their sky, and you, perhaps, are already known to them. Your body contains ancient viral DNA. Within your cells lies a hidden history, not just of your ancestors, but of ancient infections. Around 8% of the human genome comes from retroviruses that infected our distant ancestors. These viruses inserted their genetic material into reproductive cells, and their DNA became a permanent part of our own. Over millions of years, some of these viral sequences have mutated and gone silent. Others have been repurposed by evolution to serve useful functions, encoding roles in brain development and placenta formation. You are, in a very real sense, part virus. Not infected, but shaped. Echoes of ancient battles, now folded into the instructions that make you who you are. The human body is not a single story. It is a library of survival, stitched together from creatures long forgotten. The largest living thing is a hidden fungus. It doesn't tower. It doesn't move. It doesn't roar. But the largest living organism on Earth is a fungus, and it lives quietly beneath a forest in Oregon. This individual armillaria fungus spreads underground for over 2,000 acres, forming a vast network of mycelium, the thread-like roots of fungal life. It's estimated to be thousands of years old. Above ground, it occasionally produces mushrooms, but the real organism lives in the dark, feeding on tree roots, connecting the forest in a silent web. It's not the tallest or fastest or brightest, but in size, age, and reach, it is unmatched. The hidden world beneath your feet may be more alive than what grows above. Bees can learn from watching each other. Bees aren't just busy, they're brilliant. In one experiment, researchers trained bees to roll tiny balls into a goal to receive a sugar reward. Other bees, watching nearby, quickly learned the task just by observation. They even improved on the technique, finding more efficient ways to complete it. This kind of social learning, watching and imitating, is rare outside of primates and birds. Bees, with their tiny brains, seem to possess a flexible intelligence that goes beyond instinct. Inside the hive, knowledge spreads like nectar. Not by words or teaching, but by quiet example, followed by action. The buzz of wings carries more than pollen, it carries ideas. Some fish sleep with half their brain awake. Sleep is universal, but how it happens can vary dramatically. Some fish, like parrotfish and certain species of sharks, show evidence of unihemispheric sleep. Only one half of their brain rests at a time. The other half remains alert, monitoring the surroundings and controlling slow, steady movement. This adaptation allows fish to remain aware of predators, currents, and obstacles even as they rest. In dolphins and whales, a similar sleep pattern allows them to breathe consciously and stay afloat. Underwater, sleep is never absolute. It's partial, watchful, a delicate balance between restoration and survival. Even in dreams, the ocean stays awake. Chameleons change color for mood, not just camouflage. Chameleons are known for their dazzling color shifts, but it's not just for blending in. Their color changes are influenced by mood, temperature, and social signals. When calm, they may appear green or brown. But during confrontation, excitement, or mating displays, they can shift to bright yellows, blues, or reds. They achieve this not through pigments, but by manipulating tiny crystals in their skin that reflect light differently as they rearrange. It's structural color, physics, not paint. Chameleons communicate through their shifting hues, warnings, invitations, or signals of submission. The forest becomes a stage, and their skin a message, not just disguise, but expression. The Earth's magnetic field shapes animal migration. All around us, invisible lines of force stretch from pole to pole, the Earth's magnetic field, and many animals can feel them. Sea turtles use magnetic signatures to return to the beaches where they were born. Birds like robins and warblers navigate thousands of miles with an inner compass. Salmon find their way from the ocean to the exact stream where they first hatched. Even some insects and bacteria use the field to orient themselves. The mechanism is still partly mysterious. It may involve tiny crystals of magnetite in the body or light-sensitive proteins in the eyes. But the result is clear. The Earth whispers directions, and life listens. Life keeps finding new ways to begin again. Despite disasters, extinctions, and cosmic odds, life has never stopped. It emerged from boiling vents in the ocean, spread across continents, took flight, swam deep, burrowed under, and soared into sky. It adapted to cold, heat, acid, vacuum, and time. Every time it seemed cornered, it found a new shape, a new strategy. It grew feathers, fur, armor, and thought. It built coral reefs and root systems, nests and cities. Even now, in the deepest caves, the saltiest lakes, and the hottest springs, life is beginning, again and again. Not perfect, not always pretty, but endlessly determined. In you, in me, in every leaf and breath and cell, the experiment continues. And the story, still, is being written. And now, with the final fact softly settled into place, let the world grow quiet around you. We've wandered through oceans and forests, deserts and tundras, mountain peaks and ancient roots. We've heard the silent conversations of plants, the glow of jellyfish, the songs of whales, and through it all, a single truth echoes gently beneath the surface. Life is extraordinary. Not because it is perfect, but because it persists. It adapts. It endures. And it continues to surprise us. Somewhere, right now, a coral is releasing its eggs into the dark. A bird is flying in its sleep. A flower is counting the footsteps of a bee. You are part of this story too. Not separate from nature, but made of it. Cells and sparks, memories and motion. A living thread in the long, unfolding pattern of Earth. So, wherever you are, allow your mind to rest. Let your breath slow. Let your thoughts grow soft at the edges. The journey doesn't end, it simply pauses here until curiosity calls again. Sleep well, and thank you for dreaming with us.